Hello, everybody. Good evening. Nice to see you all here. This might seem a little different. I hope you all can hear me. Let me know. I can read the chat since I'm not cooking. I wanted to introduce my new channel I'm going to be doing. I have two reasons for this. My main reason is, I'm a true crimer, but I feel like children, uh, a lot of true crime that involves children, they seem to be put on the back burner, the emphasis more on uh, who did it, uh, blaming this one, that one, getting this one off, doing this. That's very unfair to the children. And I think we need to explore more about how either friends, families, the system, combination of things, seem to let a lot of children down. And it's very senseless, I believe. Um, and thanks everybody for being here. Good evening to everybody in the chat. BZ, Betty Boop, um, Misty D, Isaac, Miss Ben. Hello, ladies. Haven't seen you all for any of you for a long time. Role playing. Pico, uh, maybe a few more will show up. But hi, Meezer Mom. Anyway, that's my main reason because you know that I have a big heart for children abuse, and there's a lot of cases that haven't even been to court. Some that have where these children have just been let down. And we have to start having more open voices. And my second reason for doing this is, to be honest with you guys, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do my cooking lives. And it's due to medical reasons. I will know more about that later this month and next month. My neurologist informed me on my last visit, which I'm having some MRIs done on my thoracic and lumbar, and I'm having bone densities done, that my spinal cord has narrowed so much that it's pushing in on the nerves. And I noticed I'd been falling going up steps, which is kind of unusual. But I have been dealing with issues since 1999. I have osteoporosis. I have degenerative disc disease. I have nerve problems, nerve damage in my back. I have massive bone loss. I have fractures. I have five herniated discs, two are bulging. And he just put it to me like this. He said, well, he finally called me when he reviewed the last one I had done, which was about 3 years ago. And he said, I don't even think you can have any kind of surgeries. He had talked about putting spacers in to support the spinal cord, but he doesn't think that my back is even stable enough for that. And he said, the reason why I'm telling this, you complain about falling up steps, and he said, you said how you kind of lean in or hold on to things when you're cooking and stuff, which I do. I've noticed in my videos quite a bit. And he said that's because when you're leaning forward, you're putting that pressure off areas of the back where those nerves are pushing on that spinal cord. So he said, I'm just going to be truthful with you. He said, you've been pretty active. But he said, when the pain gets, he said, you're on mild pain medications right now. But he said, when it gets to where that pain from those nerves start pushing in more, he said, you're not going to be able to stand the pain. And what you're going to want to do is sit down. You're not going to want to keep going because it's going to hurt you bad. And he just said, I have to be honest with you. I don't have a lot of high hopes in you walking for much longer. So I had to have something, and I do have rheumatoid arthritis. That my hands are crippled very bad, but they don't bother me. I really don't. I think they said because the bones in the joints had already fused, and it bothered me until that happened, and the erosion and all that stuff. And they said, well, the damage has been done. There's nothing we can do. So, only thing I can tell you, ladies, is make sure you take your vitamin D, take calcium, do something, especially if you've gone through the change or if you're going through the change, is vital. I did not know that years ago. So, I'm just telling y'all, just please take care of yourselves. Um, and I wanted y'all to know that that is another reason I have to have something to do. I can't just sit down and do nothing. And I thought, well, I can do this and do lives and talk to y'all, and I can have panels. And I know a lot of you all, this is a passion for you all too. Hey, Panther. Hey, Tats. Let me see who else is coming. I love being able to read the chat. Hey, Spacebound. I really love being able to do this, ladies, because when you're cooking, you just cannot keep up with your chat. But anyway, I don't want people to say, oh, I don't feel sorry for myself. This has been told to me. They actually told this when I was 57 years old, and I kept telling myself, no, no, no. But now I'm 72, and the odds are a lot more against me now. So I'm just being honest with people and letting people know that if I'm going down to only doing one live a week, and that's why I haven't been up to doing a lot here lately. I have to go up and down 14 steps, and it's just a lot standing up there, and that's why I try to. And by the time I do my prep times and a live, I'm putting sometimes 4 hours into that. So it's a lot of time standing up there prepping and cooking, but I do sit down, and I sit down a lot more than what you would think, like every 15 minutes when I'm prepping. So that's where I'm at, and that's enough of that. Hey, Kitty. But I did want to touch base with you all about the reasons why this. But there's some cases that have really stood out to me here lately. And we have a little boy by the name of Noel Rodriguez that is here in Texas. It's a sad situation. I can tell you a little bit of what I know. I know some of the information's gone, but things I know for a fact. I know she has this mom. She had 10 children. Three live with her mother, and she had her last ones were a set of twins with her new husband. That's from India, and Noelle was the last of six from two other. The older children were from two different marriages. The twins were from her last marriage. So that's not, but he was 6 years old and he was the youngest before the twins. He did have some medical and issues, physical issues. However, I do know that the mother had a history of drinking. She was on probation for drinking. I feel from the research I've done and the symptoms this little boy showed from pictures and different things that was said, he may have been a baby that was a symptom of uh, fetal alcohol syndrome. I really believe that's a very strong possibility. But nevertheless, these twins were born, I think it was the last week of October, I'm not sure, maybe the first week of November. But nobody had really seen him since the last week of October. And there had been reports that had come in that were anonymous. And there were people that made statements due to seeing the mother extremely intoxicated, passed out outside, children running around. I do know that one time he was in foster care and placed back in the home. Like I said, I'm not sure of the details about everything, but I can tell you this. Oh, hey, Holly, that the mother and stepfather and the let me see, yeah, the six other siblings took off as soon as the authorities come down wanting to know where he was at. They got passports and were gone to India within about 48 hours. And Panthera knows a lot about this too. And the old man, where they did live in the shed, that they had access to his house. Supposedly, she lived in this vehicle with some of her kids, and he opened his house up to her. He supposedly doesn't have any family, but he's quite a drinker himself. And he said, well, she made sure there's plenty of food in the kitchen. And uh, according to him, they sat down to a meal every night at the table. But he said that the little boy was dangerously thin. Now, you can take that however you want. Dangerously thin. I take that as very, um, very poor health. And I know from the foster mom, there's a video out where she dearly loved him. She said he would talk, he could communicate. Um, but it also had been stated by people that knew Cindy, the mother, that She didn't like changing his wet and dirty diapers. So she would deprive him from food and water so she didn't have to do that. And I will continue to yell this kid's name all over the state of Texas till something is done. I know they're working as hard as they can to get these people back into the country. They have filed additional charges because the employer of his did not know it. But the authorities found out her husband, that's from India, had actually embezzled $10,000 from the company he worked for to get plane tickets and for them to have money to leave the country. So now there's charges out on him. I can tell you that they found a piece, he was seen carrying out a piece of carpet and disposing of it. And the dogs did pick up on the scent of human in the shed out in the back. I can also tell you that she was involved in some pretty deep, oh, I don't know how to exactly put it. She worshipped someone. She had a lot of idols there and stuff in the shed. It showed us she had money laying out. She had lottery tickets laying out, all kinds of stuff. I mean, we know that stuff for a fact. It's been all over. But prior to this, there's a case, and this one has not gone to trial yet. Here in Texas, there's a case of Sammy Olson. This was going on big during COVID. His mother actually had custody of him, and it was kind of I'm not sure exactly what exactly went in, but I do know the father got him. He kept running with him from place to place, would not returning. The courts were slow in working. There were things going on. And finally, this father leaves him with his girlfriend that he's engaged to, which did not have her children with her anymore because she was, well, she had issues and was an abusive and unstable mother. So there again is another case. If she, um, it has not even gone any place in the systems. It keeps getting backlogged. But I mean, I've actually seen things online. This man, this father, this little boy, his own mother, this lady's mother, Teresa's mother, they knew that she was hiding this, he was hiding this child out. Why did nobody step up and do anything? Why? There was two guys that she had been friends with, that shared apartment with and stuff, that knew that she mistreated him. And she was caught actually with his she did get one of these friends to take her. I can't remember the town. I'll have to look it up because it's been a while since I've really looked into it. And his remains was in a container, one of those containers that had been moved out of a storage bin. And the reason why the guy reported it in the truck was because the smell was so bad, and he called the authorities. And she was found with his body in that tote, in the bathroom of that motel. So yeah, it's just that's another case that I don't know. And if you know anything about the case with Gannon Stouch, I mean, look at what's going on. That woman's trying to make everybody have a pity party for her. She literally disassembled that child. She tortured him. She made sure she wanted him dead. And she drove places and went all the way to Florida. They found remains and they found his body parts in jars in a suitcase. They found jawbones placed. I mean, this woman is, I don't know what you call it. She involved her own daughter in helping clean up, and her own daughter's been attacked. But now it seems like they want to have a pity party for her. Why? Why? Why do she's not, to me, she's not insane. She's just evil. She's just mean. She had a problem with Gannon's father, and she was taking it out, abusing that boy because that boy really loved his dad. And I think he was being poisoned slowly too because he had been having stomach problems. He had been having I know they said there had been blood, vomiting blood. There had been blood in the stools and stuff. They had found blood splatter underneath the living room sofa and underneath his bed downstairs. And I guess she used his dad, Al Stouch's tools to disassemble his body. And what's dad doing? Dad's out. He's supposedly, I think he was in the military. He's got another lady pregnant, going to have a baby. Now, I'm not saying that anything about that being an excuse or anything, for her behavior, but because she was cheating too. I mean, it's obvious she made up lies about being raped and all kinds of stuff went on. Anything she could do to try to make herself look innocent. And if you can connive that much stuff, there's nothing wrong with you mentally. If you can scheme and connive, make up stories about being assaulted and stuff by strangers, yeah, really? I just can't go there. I can't. And I think that some of these cases really need, because none of these cases, well, the Stouch case has gone to court. Um, I still, I have people may have a different opinion than me on Casey Anthony. I think she got away with murder myself. I don't think she wanted to be a mom. I don't know that I think that she intentionally planned that. I think she was so used to giving that child stuff and the Danny, the nanny, so used to giving her drugs and using chloroform so she could sleep, so she could go do her partying and running around. I honestly think maybe she gave her too much. But the whole point is she lied about everything. She lied about a job. She lied about everything. She lied to her parents. She lied, 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 lied. But yet she was found not guilty. I mean, just makes you wonder. And I just don't know what to think anymore. But I think people need to start having a bigger heart for these children. Miss Isaac said she was giving him hydrocodone. That would probably do quite a thing on a child. I'm sure of that. ADD meds, yeah. I'm sure there's just a lot of things. I do feel like though that with Gannon, she may have been poisoning him a little bit too in his foods and stuff. I don't know with what, but I feel like she may have just been doing that. And she was, I agree, role playing. She was an habitual liar. She just was. And this is just things I don't. Yeah, closing arguments tomorrow. I'm just curious to see how I was just shocked at some people's reaction, including Gannon's father. I was absolutely flabbergasted at some of the things that I've heard come out of people's mouths. Not defending, seems like totally defending her and not defending him. I just don't get it. But I am looking into a case about that nurse that was a labor and delivery nurse, and people said no, it's probably postpartum depression from having the last baby and blah this and blah that. Well, come to find out, the more they research, no, she was actually uh, not working at the hospital anymore because she had been being treated for some mental depression and mental issues on medications. They hadn't they hadn't revoked her license, but she was not doing any nursing in the hospital. But this is what I don't understand. If her husband gave his office job up, doing work from home to be close to the children and to keep an eye on her, would somebody please, please, please explain to me why, when the man left that night to go to the pharmacy to pick up a prescription and to go make a food run, why in the world didn't he take his children with him? Because she herself has come, they have found out, she literally researched, Googled how long it would take him to go to the pharmacy, how long it would take him to pick that food up, to get there and get back home. Well, she thought she successfully had choked to death all three of her children. Um, so she decided to jump out a second story or balcony or something. And now I don't think she can walk still. She's still um, from her waist down. But now that's being put on the back burner. And what I don't understand is why, if she, how could she be so mentally disturbed if she knew enough to go on and Google all that stuff? She planned it. The first chance, she planned that to me. And no, none of them died right away, but the two older ones died, I believe, later that night or the next day, and I think the baby lived 2 or 3 days. But still, I just don't understand uh, why so much sympathy. Why so much sympathy for these mothers and fathers? There's fathers too. Why so many of them getting a sympathetic hand and have been for a long time? And what do they always want to say? Well, they had mental disorder. Now, true, I do agree on one case. I do strongly agree that Andrea Yates had a very deep mental issue. And she too was a nurse. But she had been dealing with conditions, and to me, I blame a lot to an extent of that on her husband. He kept her barefoot pregnant. She didn't really get any breaks much, as far as I'm concerned, in between having children. And um, she knew she did wrong because she called the police, but she waited for the opportunity to open up because she, in some of the religion stuff she was in, she thought she was saving her children from the world. She really did. And to the best of my knowledge now, I believe she is still being treated in a mental facility. She is not in prison, but she's still being um, in a mental facility. She's being there for mental treatment stuff, which um, I don't know. I go back and forth about it, but the more I looked into, because her mom said she'd had issues sometimes off and on as a teenager, and but I mean, she did drown all of her kids, but she dressed them and lined them all up in bed too. So how far can you go with the mental illness on that either? When do you cross the line between where people have mental illness and commit a crime, and to where they were sane when they committed these crimes? That's what people are going to have to start figuring out. And I would think um, some of these people that work with people that have mental conditions, mental disabilities, could surely come up with a better prognosis than saying, well, this is their opinion. You got to come up with some facts as far as I'm concerned on stuff. They really, they do. And I do know people now are discussing about Aaron's mother right now. Um, that kind of blew me for a loop on that. But the thing I think people don't realize about that, her husband drinks too. And the bad thing about it was he filmed her acting out and assaulting him, and it was all over the remote. And rather, I think the TV or something was too loud, wanted to turn it down. I mean, yeah. So, but there again, you have a problem. You have a woman that's been dealing with alcohol in her life, and people have triggering issues, and it's just like when you're a drug addict, you're an alcoholic, um, whatever the scenario is, you're just in recovery. You're never really cured. They don't have cures for that. They can't ever say you will never ever do drugs again. They can't say you will never ever take a drink again. And if you talk to any really true addict, they will tell you that themselves. They will tell you, I know some, and they will tell you that. They wanted to, they've always wanted to, they try to, but they have their triggering points. And you know what? Stress, I believe, causes more problems in this world on people on with relapses than any other thing. It's just the stress of this world and society is getting to be a lot. And there's a lot of things with Aaron Carter. He was hated on, and he tried off and on to do things he was trying. I think people need to give him a little break sometimes. They go way too hard after him, and that's a lot more deep seated than to me than. And I never knew my kids knew of him, but I got interested in it because things didn't make sense. It still doesn't make sense. The stories just changed way too much, and I'm beginning to doubt some of these coroners that put their signatures on these autopsies, because why do the findings change constantly? This is supposedly a cause of death. No, this is, no, this is, and it changes. Well, did somebody drown or didn't they drown? Were they doing drugs? Were they not doing drugs? What drugs were they doing? What weren't they doing? I mean, come on, we live in a world of highly sophisticated uh, labs and stuff, and where they can do things years now that they couldn't even do 10 years ago. Look how far DNA has took. There's been people that have walked on murders and then people that have been arrested and in jail for murder or rape and stuff that have been proved not guilty through DNA. The DNA saved them or it convicted them. So I really think this is something I've been wanting to um, see if I could get enough people involved in this. Personally, guys, I am walking away from the Watts case totally. It's too toxic. It's just got worse. And I mean, there's so many people whose lives have been destroyed. Creators have uh, been gone after real life. There's mods that have been drugged up and down all around the corner, in and outdoors, and threatened. And look, when it gets to the severity of that, you have to walk away at some time in your life because it's not worth the stress to what it's doing to you mentally and physically to keep going down that rabbit hole when in 5 years there's not been any real answers, nothing really accomplished. So I'm really not going to be discussing that um, at all um, anymore. I got deep into that, deep, deep, deep into it. I was on both sides, and I'm just telling you, I also have problems with my sugar levels right now, and the doctor just said you need to keep away from anything that's really going to play a hard, stress, put a hard stress with, stress on you. I want to say hi to Twiley, Kelly, and all of you that I've missed coming in. I really appreciate all of you being here. I'm so glad about the big turnout here. I am going to be doing some lives with some open panelists. I'm going to be letting people, if they want to come up and talk about it. I will be having mods because I think that's necessary because, you know, anytime you get into any of this kind of stuff, there's always going to be somebody hating. There just is. It just happens. I mean, you can't, every time you try to see the best in people, it just never seems to work out that way because even if you try to help people, it just other creators or you just try to stand by people and stuff. Um, it just a lot of times, I think everybody's burnt out. A lot of them, the majority of people are burnt out on the case. They just are, and they're burnt out on the harassment and the tax. So I'm another one. I always thought I'd stay in it till something different come about, but honestly, I might be waiting on that the rest of my life. So that's where I'm at on that. I'm just not even going to dive into that here at all. And maybe that might cut down on bringing attackers in and stuff if just leave that case totally alone. It's just way too toxic, and I see most of you are in a total agreement with me on that, and I really appreciate you all. Mrs. Benya, you want a mod? Okay, girl. I can see some of my nurses are want to mod. Miss Ben and Miss Isaacs are RNs, and I have known them for quite some time, as I've known many of you people in here. Um, yeah, I mean, Tat's known her for a very long time, very, very dear friend. And of course, you all know too that Panthera La Luna, that's my auntie. And we are, well, I could say even with Tats, there's distant relations there. So we all in cahoots. Um, but I can tell you another reason why I don't want to go on the Watts case because over on Panthera's channel, when we were not even, never have even discussed it, doing the nothing but Aaron Carter case, And of course, she's going to be doing more on the Athena Strand as soon as something comes up. That was a child abuse case, but that was another guy, I think, that people knew had issues, and he got away with things in his past, and I think it cost that little girl her life. But um, I somebody ended up, I'm not going to say what creator, come over there and started attacking, and the on the pages and stuff, started putting dirty stuff in on there, attacking uh Panthera, and caught saying she was different from somebody else and to show theirself and all this. Look, nobody has to show your face on YouTube. They advise that you do not show yourself on YouTube. I have showed myself because I cook on YouTube. Kind of hard to cook and not show your face. I suppose I could be like some of them to show my hands and whipping the stuff up and playing music in the background and saying what the ingredients are, but I don't call that cooking. I call that just, well, you're standing there measuring things. You're at the screen saying everything for you. You're just basically standing there doing it, not showing anything. I mean, they show the results, but you never see interaction with the person that's cooking. So yeah, I just kind of think that's wasn't my cup of tea in the way of doing my channel. Um, and at my age, I have nothing to hide about who I am or what I look like. Never have had. But I just decided too that it was a good deal just to, that was the sealing deal for me. The last straw was when they come in there and attacked her so belligerently, so cruelly. And I've known this creator for a long time and know it's not MM, so don't go there. That's not, was not her at all. But um, for them to come in there and demand that she show her face, call her somebody else, and then they know of me, they've known of me for a long time, and call me a liar, saying I'm lying on her, and they're disappointed in me because I'm telling them that that's not who they were accusing her of being. And there's a reason why she doesn't show herself. There's reasons for that. A lot of people have a reason for that. A lot of people's jobs and uh, the past jobs they've had and stuff, they don't want you to do that. You can't show yourself. So I'm just telling you that I've had, that was the last straw for me. I just couldn't believe that, and I thought I knew that person. Um, it wasn't. Yeah, me and Sister Right role playing. Yeah, no, it wasn't the me on there either. No, it wasn't. Uh, and I don't know where that Mia girl went to either. I don't know where she's at either. Um, I do. I don't know, Mrs. Ben. Are you talking about Mia, the one that's got a channel, or are you talking about the one that come in over on Panthers and acted like an idiot over there on there in the lives? I don't know. We've had two different ones called that, so I don't know. But I just think, when people attack somebody that I know who they are personally, and I tell them that that's my niece, and I've known that person all my, they're going to attack me after they said that they have trust in me and they know my character and stuff. Honest to God, I was just, I can't tell you. She knows, and you know what it actually took. She actually had to block that creator and report him because they would not stop the bullying and harassing. And I told her, I said, just report him, block him, because they've lost they've lost it. And I know it was that person, because if it had been a false person portraying to be that creator, they would have broke their neck to get on and say they had done a video and said it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But they didn't do that. So just saying, that was a big wake up for me. So that told me just how far and how much can you really depend people on some of these channels that you think you know and you don't know. So again, if you all would, though, leave in the comments or on my community post um, any cases that you would like to discuss, child abuse cases that you know that there's lots of them out there. um, that you would like to discuss or look into? Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, we're talking about and over at Panthers, the Mia lady over there. Learned that that was his worst half. At one time. But yeah, pop quiz, 6 hours to do a makeup, right, Panthera? How in the world would you hold down three jobs and be able to take care of a child if you're spending 6 hours doing your makeup? Beats me. Going and having hair extensions put in and all these hair colorings and oh, I can't even go there about that woman. I just can't. And you can't this is was Aaron Carter's other half. Can't put her saying, "Oh no, she was good stuff." Well, if she was as good as everybody, all those that wants to sit out there and take her side, why did her mother have custody of the baby when her and Aaron didn't? Because of what was going on in the home. Think about that one. They don't usually do that. The only reason she got the baby back is because of Aaron Carter's death. So that's exactly the kind of stuff I'm talking about. It's the kind of stuff that, and what she's done, she's put him all over social media. His face is all out there. She's saying about how he needs to be in private schools and he needs to live a certain luxury of life because of who his father was. Really, lady, he will be fine if you keep him off of social media and things settle down and you close his door. And if he is AC's son, for God's sakes, which you've never come out with any positive proof on that either. But if he is, for God's sakes, give the child a break. Don't put his face all over social media where it's going to bring about people that hated on him, hate on that baby. Stop doing that to that child. He deserves better. Um, it's just, yeah, I heard all about, yeah, Nick's show too. Yeah. Well, that's, I don't know what to say. I just don't. I have not role playing. I didn't get to see the documentary. My daughter watched it, and she said that actually only one of the, I can't remember which one of the Backstreet Boys actually really did talking and told about exactly how AC was brought in, supposedly so he could spend more time with his brother. And he was used to do a lot of openings. AC was used to do a lot of openings at their shows and stuff because Aaron Carter was an entertainer. He loved people and he loved to entertain people. He wasn't just a singer. And he entertained people how? Well, he could do flip flops off the back of drums. I've seen videos of him doing it. So I haven't seen it personally, but she did tell me a little bit about that. So I just wonder about things like that. I really do. I have noticed things are quieting down, but I think there's a lot of people that are involved behind some of this stuff with things that went on in the last day or two of Aaron Carter's life. A lot of bad people and some that were his so-called friends. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Um, I kind of lost track here in the chat of who else come in, but whoever's coming in here, I really appreciate your support. I have tried to be out there for a lot of people in a lot of ways on different cases and stuff. Mainly the was case, but I'm just done with that. Oh, I guess Peaks is in here. Hey, Peaks. Um, I just I don't know. Yeah, I do know that Lloyd got caught in a few lies, but I also seen where that oh, I just can't even go there with that check the star, where he's going to be all at once. He's going to be doing all this stuff. Got these hot mamas, and he's going to be doing um, movies. Yeah, that's a good one. I had to laugh a good at that one. I mean, come on. Yeah, and like a yeah, you're right, Panther. I got a big bang out of that. The ghee. Yeah, get that ghee out, fry on an egg. Yeah, isn't it amazing that um, Aaron Carter could cook, but his brother couldn't even. fry an egg. He didn't know how to take a pancake mix and mix it up. He stood there alive, running that mouth of his, as he well knows how to do. And many times his kids are hungry, and he couldn't even take and mix up a pancake mix, one of those little bitty bag pancake mixes. In that length of time he was standing there talking, what does it take? An egg, a little bit of oil, I think, and some water. I don't know. I make mine from scratch. I don't know. But come on. This is yeah, I'm doing that rap album. Yeah, that's pretty Nick's doing it. Well, yeah. Is he gonna try to keep up with old Check and stuff? I don't know, guys. This is I'm sure that there's gonna be a lot of stuff going on and on and on. And it's gonna keep going. You know that. Dummy used coffee creamer. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, well, some like heavy cream or something for the pancakes. Yeah. Oh, I know. He's just and then he didn't know where anything was in the kitchen. He was knocking stuff over in the pantry and looking for stuff. It's like he was trying to impress somebody, and I don't believe it was his children. I think he was trying to press the social media. To me, he did a complete flip flop, backwards, poor ass job of that, in my opinion. And of course, a lot of this stuff is my opinion, but still, um, makes you wonder, doesn't it? I just don't understand how anybody can't take a little amen. Well, I can tell you this. My late husband could not cook. The man could literally burn boiling water. He could put water on to boil and he would let the pan boil dry before he even knew what was going. I never will forget one time we had bought the peanut oil, we had a turkey fryer, and he was going to cook this turkey, of course, for Thanksgiving. Well, you're supposed to put water in the fryer first and put the turkey in there so you know how high your level will go with that weight of that turkey to know how much peanut oil to put in there. Well, he didn't do that. He wanted to do it his way. So, that I can tell you what a nightmare that was. You cannot even imagine all the peanut oil that went all over and the greasy, nasty turkey that turned out of that. It was a mess. Um, so anyway, yeah. So there's a lot of things on here that's going to get more interesting. And like I said, I do want to discuss quite a bit on different child abuse cases and why did the system fail them? Did the families fail? Did the families? Because you got to keep in mind anybody that works is CPS or nurses, doctors, caseworkers. They're mandated reporters. Teachers, they're all mandated reporters. And people that fail to do that, you know, I really think that people need to realize there it's not just families letting these children down. It's people just either they tell certain things, they don't tell things, or they wait too late to tell stuff. And a lot of times you'll find out people knew a lot, but then you never heard anything, or the authorities never knew anything about it till it was too late. And they still not found this little boy's remains. So yeah, I don't know. It's just I did see today where McKinney, Texas lost their captain, and not on duty, but they lost him in a fatal car crash. I did see that, and I was sorry to hear about that to the um, McKinney, Texas. Sending regards to you all in the loss of your police captain there in that accident. That was really a bad thing. I hated reading about that totally. Um, but sometimes we'll just have to maybe do it on here too, just talk a little bit at the end or something. I pray about maybe the things that, and I have had flops in cooking, guys. I have had things that were total flops. Not so much in the last 15 years, occasionally, not very often. But yeah, But I was set down at a very young age, and my grandmother said, "Well, if you want to learn to cook, you got to watch." And my mother cooked some. She didn't cook like her mom did. And I spent time at my grandparents helping them canning and do stuff because I loved doing it. I wasn't my mom could say, "Can you help me do laundry?" I wanted to spend time with my mom. I wanted to go outside, hang my sister's diapers on the line. I wanted to fold them up. I wanted to bathe her. I wanted to be a big mommy to my sister. There was 2 boys in between. My sister and I are 10 years apart, and I wanted a sister so bad. And at that time, I was 10 when she was born, and I wanted to be involved in everything from feeding her to anything possible I could do. And my mom, when my sister was about 6 months old, my mom was using one of those stand up old mixers, and she turned away, and she doesn't even know how she did it. She caught her finger in the mixer while it was running, and it mangled her finger, and it's still crooked and looks bad, and she doesn't have any filling in it, and her nail still doesn't grow. It was a mess. So she had to have me do do my sister's diapers. We didn't have disposable diapers then, guys. This was in 1961. We used the cloth diapers. I had to learn to use the safety pins to put my hand underneath it so I didn't stick her skin, and put rubber pants on just like I did with my last child. Was the only one that I actually the last 2 actually had, throwaway diapers. My others did not. I actually used, cloth diapers on. So, I mean, it was interesting even, I just watched my grandma, and I can honestly say my first husband was a chef, and, uh, he could cook anything. My grandmother loved to cook with him, but unfortunately, he also had a downside. His alcohol consumed him, and he was very abusive. So, after 10 years of that and almost costing me my life, I walked away from that and, um, didn't look back. My second husband's mother and I are close, and his family always were close even after we divorced. She taught me many things to cook and many candies to make, how to make noodles and all kinds of things. I learned all kinds of things from her. She is 95 years old and still cooking. So my grandmother was 95 when she died, and she was still cooking. Um, and she wasn't canning anymore, but she did that clear up. My gosh, clear up until well, my grandfather, 73, when he passed away, and that was the last year. It was in 1973, and when he passed away, my third child was 2 weeks old, and he passed away that Tuesday after Father's Day. He had been out painting the back of the garage, and my grandmother had lunch for him. She'd hung the laundry out. She had lunch for him, called him. He said, "I'm just going to sit in the lawn chair here and cool off, Mom. I'll be ready to eat in a little bit." He put his hat back, and he was gone. So that's the last year that I ever, um, knew of her canning and stuff, but she still continued to cook for a long time. And he went, "Got your chip toy role playing." Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I know, talking about food and stuff, but I am gonna tell you what my next cooking live is gonna be about. I thought a lot about this. I don't know how many of you in here even know about I Love Lucy, about Lucy and Desi Arnaz. And there was a place in California called the Brown Derby. That's where a lot of the actors, actresses went and ate. And they even filmed Lucy there with Fred and Ethel. Of course, Ricky was off doing something on a contract or inter, and he told them, "Lunch on me. Go have lunch there." They ordered a Cobb salad, and there is a guy by the name of Bob Cobb that actually come up with that salad, and it was called the uh, Brown Derby Cafe. Brown Derby, not Brown Derby. But anyway, I don't know if I said it right. But he invented the Cobb salad, and this Cobb salad is actually made with the French dressing. Now, it's not made with the French dressing that you see in the bottles. It is a French dressing that comes from France, and it's several steps to it. I'm going to make that Cobb salad, and I'm going to make a. Oh, you have the Brown Derby cookbook. Then you can look it up in there, Mrs. Ben. I'm going to be making the famous grapefruit cake they had there too. I actually made that a few years back, and it was really good. And I'm going to do that. So that's going to be my next live. It's going to be about the famous Brown Derby there, and I never will forget that one. That's where she seen William Holden, and of course, she knew him and everything anyway. But part of her acting and stuff, she was just, how Lucy was. She had to be on involved with anybody who was involved in Hollywood and actors and everything. So she was just like that. But she spit or spilled water on him. I can't remember. Well, anyway, later on, little did she know that Ricky was going to have William Holden there at the house, or not there at the house, but at the hotel they were at. And she went in, she knew all this stuff. She didn't that he was going to be there, and she put this fake nose on and had her hair all wrapped up with the scarf and stuff. Come walking out and had these big black ring glasses on, and Ricky was, how you got to looking at her. But anyway, she went to get a cigarette and caught her nose on fire. So anyway, of course, he knew it was her, and he'd already told Ricky, so the joke was on her. But it can be really entertaining. And Lucy, she was definitely a comedian and definitely a lot of fun, I thought, and a very interesting person, to say the least. But we understand she was a good cook too, that she did actually cook a lot, and she enjoyed cooking. Uh, so even though they went on separate ways, and stuff and married different people, I can tell you that the last person that Desi Arnaz talked to before he died was Lucille Ball on the phone. And I can tell you when Lucille Ball was in the hospital and had been in there, nobody could come and see her till her hair and her makeup was done. That's the type of woman she was. Uh, I don't know if a lot of people know that all that about her, but I she was to me, I can remember just laughing, and I still can go back and watch him when I see him every once in a while and laugh about him. She's just, um, that's just the way she was, and that beautiful red hair she had, all the time on there, keeping it red, and she was just always so mischievous, and she always managed. And then another interesting thing I learned about Fred and Ethel, they actually couldn't stand each other in real life, but they did, and they got along just to do the parts they played in that. I know that Ethel, passed away. I think she had cancer, and I know that Fred, he had gone to a movie or something, and he was on Hollywood Boulevard, and he had a heart attack right there on Hollywood Boulevard. So it's interesting things that you learn about these people, and their lives and what they go through. And entertainers are humans too. They have a life, and I think a lot about people like Aaron Carter, people like Prince, Michael Jackson, all these people, these other girls that grew up, from kids of being in entertaining and stuff. Um, how much of their childhood was robbed from them, and how much later on did all this affect their life, you know, from being young and, and so much into, as child entertainers. And people need to stop and think. I don't know how they coped as well as they did sometimes, actually. Uh, yes, he was a heavy drinker. That's true. He was. Sure was. Um, yeah. And I think Ricky probably had that. She said he did, that he had um, a Cuban temper too. So, not at her or toward her, but he just did. He just angered. I think he was jealous of her too. He had his band and stuff, but she's the one that made him who he was, and she's the one that made it where they had Desi Arnaz Studios. I mean, she just did. It was her and her careers and stuff because she went on after I Love Lucy. There's other things that she acted in still as Lucy, but there was other things that she was in, and even one with Ethel as they was older. So it's just interesting how those things go. And yet, there's things that come out about people too that you didn't even know back then. And I'm with you, bro, playing 100%. Aaron's story it breaks my heart too. Um, People just wouldn't leave him alone. That's all I can say. He couldn't seem to do anything to please people. I mean, he tried to be kind. He tried to let it roll off his shoulder. He tried to keep going. People just wouldn't leave him alone. They just couldn't let the man go. And I hope um, he's resting now and not, you know, um, is free from all that because he sure never had got a fair break. That's for sure. And like I've said, to me, his brother could have stood by him and his mother. He has the means of doing it. He could have had a really nice funeral for Aaron, and a lot of things, in my opinion, could have been done different. And of course, you can't go back and redo things like that now. So the damage has been done. But I just don't see a lot of sympathy from his brother. So I don't know. It's just, yeah, he does make people laugh out loud. And even he even wasn't even there was a song on there his brother was singing, and he was going back and playing it. He said he was trying to tell him, look, this is not making sense the way you're singing this. He was trying to the story that was in the music didn't add up, and he was pointing that out. It wasn't that he was hating on anybody. He was actually truly trying to help in that song. And if you listen to it, I'm sure it was one of his brother's songs, but it didn't make sense. And he explained it in a way that truly makes you understand, you know? Yeah. Yeah, and he was good with the comebacks. He definitely was good with that. He sure was. But anyway, guys, I've been on here almost an hour. I just wanted to let you know my interest in this, that I will not be addressing the Watts case on this channel anymore. I won't be addressing that anymore. I'm done with it, so people know. I think it'll keep a lot of stress and hate out of the channel, I hope, anyway, because that's not what it's about. It has nothing to do with that case at all. Um, I'm just not going to venture down that road anymore. I'm just not doing it for any reason. I'm just not. So I thought long and hard when I walked away and decided it's the best for me, and it's the best that I've done all I can do, and I'm done with it. Somebody else can take over and do whatever they want to do with it, you know. And I want to see what we can do to see if we can get some laws into effect to turn some things around to where the look, guys, something's going to have to change with the system. There's too many children being abused. There's too many children dying from child abuse. It's got to stop. And I think one big mistake, in my opinion, is and it isn't just when they're removed from the homes. A lot of these children die in foster care. I was, I mean, there's been some cases to where the foster or even adopted people that were going to adopt them or did adopt them, killed these children. Not even the biological parents. Once the biological parents needed the help, wanted to surrender custody, these kids still paid the price. So it doesn't just stop with the parents. It goes into foster care and it does go into adopted parents. Things need to be um, looked at a lot different. And uh, I finally getting my sugar, I think, pretty well straightened out the way I need to eat. I was one of these people. I did not want to. I don't like eating breakfast. I don't usually want to eat till about noon, and you can't do that when you've got sugar issues. Because now I realize if I don't eat within an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes after I get up, I can tell you I start having sugar problems. and I have to stay away from a lot of things, but you have to even, I mean, just I noticed the patterns to do, and even just having a small, you don't have to eat big meals, just small meals. And you can have stuff in between. I eat like some low sugar jello. I eat a grapefruit. I eat an orange. I eat things like that in between. I eat an apple. I eat things like that, some fresh pineapple. There's ways you can do this, but you do have to do those things, you know. Oh yeah, Louis, he needs to be called out. There's a lot of them still need to be called out, and I'm glad some people are calling him out. But when I seen that check on there, he's going to be a film producer and all this. Give me a break, dude. Just go away. That's the best thing you can do for everybody. You're such a liar, and you were no friend of Aaron Carter's at all. Stop saying you were. Stop saying you cared about him. You didn't care about him. You used him just like others used him. Aaron Carter was used and abused by his so-called friends. So it just really just irks me, the way some of these people try to act so innocent in all this stuff. It really does. Um, but anyway, I've got to have my niecey help me get my intro to my channel going. She's been moving and painting and redoing things and stuff, and she's got to kind of get some things. It's probably going to be within, try to get something done. May come back on here again, but I'm trying to get an intro to my channel and get it set up for my mods and to do the lives. But that may be a couple of weeks away. But I may come on here and start. Well, let's see how. Let's touch base. I tell you what, I may just come on here again on this channel, and we'll just touch base on the Gannon Stouch after the closing and see where I'm going to take a toll in the chat, see where everybody's at, and then we'll come back when the verdict comes in and discuss that. How does that sound? And then I will be working on things in between that. So anyway, everybody have a good night. Thanks to each and every one of you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm just overwhelmed at all the people that turned out to be here. And like I said, if there's anything in particular that you all want to discuss, cases you want to do, I'm willing to do those. BC, yes, I'm actually type 2, but back in 2011, I was actually on insulin for 4 years, but it was because I was on into 2007, 2011, into 2000, early 12, I was on Lantus because I was on a lot of polymedrol, a lot of steroids, and it really messed with my sugar. Before I had all these problems with steroids, I had low blood pressure. It also caused my blood pressure. I have to take blood pressure medicine. So I turned it around. I was up to 200 pounds back in 2007. And it took me, well, when my husband, um, when I got, well, I actually went 2007. It was about 2011 I started really doing the stuff. By 2011, I was up to 200 pounds, but I never weighed over 110 before that. But by the time when my husband passed away in 2014, I managed to get down to 150. Unfortunately, I have put a little bit of that weight back on, so I've got to do something. Yeah. And but anyway, thank you all so much, and we'll keep a watch out on the Gannon Stouch thing. Thank you all so much for being here. I love you all, and have a wonderful evening, everybody. Goodbye, everybody. Good night.